Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. Of course, it's the Paul Heyman Documentary. Now, if you followed his Heyman Hustle, you followed his podcasts, if you've watched or listened to his time on Talk is Jericho, if you've followed a lot of his other podcasts, you know a tremendous amount about this individual. So your options are you can spend like 8 to 10 hours of podcasts, or you can watch a 2-hour documentary and get a really good understanding of all things Paul Heyman. One thing I learned that I did not know, and for me this is very impressive. I knew about his father, and his father being a very successful lawyer. Did not know his mother was a Holocaust survivor. And the way Paul Heyman describes himself is not the way you'd think almost any wrestling fan would ever describe him. He's like, I am the schmuck son of two extraordinary individuals. And when he talks about his kids, he's like, my kids are going to be so much better than I've ever been. And to most wrestling fans, Paul is the epitome of what you would want in creative talent. He does a great job talking about how he learned from Lou Albano, Classy Freddie Glassy, the Grand Wizard. I mean, he learned from the epitome of great managers, and that's why he became a great manager. And how he would take little pieces of pop culture reps and he'd blend those into his character. But this goes way, 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 way before this. Up until he was initially hustling himself to get backstage at a WWF event to meet Vince McMahon Sr. Doing his photo work there. His time in Studio 54, getting back into wrestling. Getting partially burned out, going to work other territories, getting out of those territories, and being an awesome heater, spending time in WCW, forging the Dangerous Alliance, probably still one of the best stables of all time. And when people look back at stables, he took the established guys, and then he threw in Stone Cold Steve Austin. So he had a ridiculously fantastic eye for talent. His time of getting tired of that, and then his time in ECW. You know, how he had this really rabid fan base, but he did not have the infrastructure in place to make it work. Ironically, a lot of Heyman, when people describe him and the issues that they had, it almost does seem, this is going to sound religious, almost kind of Russo-esque. You know, he had all these amazing ideas, but he needed a filter in order to make them work. You saw the same thing with Russo in WCW. When there was no filter, everything went through. And you might have 75 amazing ideas. If you have 5 ideas that are not good and will not work, those are the ones that can really kind of sink what it is that you're doing. He, of course, in this time of ECW and why it went under. If you don't know why it went under, he was trying to grow a company that didn't have mainstream advertisers and crumbled. You can put on the greatest product in the world, but if you can't get the financial backing to keep it going, it's gonna fall. So those of you huge TNA marks, this is why TNA is falling. TNA can have the greatest wrestling show of all time. If you can't get sponsorships and financial backing, it's going to die. He did actually fully refute. Was he getting paid by WWF at the time he was in ECW? Ironically, he wasn't. Jim Cornette had said he was getting a check for $1,000 a week. He was. That was a royalty that he was being paid because of the music that Flash Funk was using, or Too Cold Scorpio. The song that he was using, they would then do a little piece like Thank You Tommy Boy Records. That little commercial gave him $1,000. Once Flash Funk was being shared talent, every time he was on a WWF event, he was on an ECW event, and therefore Paul would lose that $1,000. So Vince just cut him a check for $1,000 to cover that. They got guys like Raven. Ironically, CM Punk is still featured fairly heavily. And when he describes CM Punk, he describes him in the most accurate terms possible. He did a great job of talking about his time with Brock Lesnar. Interesting as they talk to people like Stephanie McMahon. I really do wish they would have interviewed Vince. I think out of all the people to have on a Heyman DVD, I think the guy who was like, you know what? He's just amazing talent. Yeah, we paid for him for a while to sit at home. Yeah, we fired him for a while. Yeah, we did this and that. Yeah, we did that. It would be interesting to have heard what Vince McMahon really has to say about Paul Heyman. That would have been really interesting. But, you know, creative genius. You learn a lot about the man behind the vision. Like I said, I've seen a lot of his podcasts. So I'm well up at the guy sleeps like 4 hours. He's constantly doing something. And the great thing is, he's talking about working with the younger people. And he was like, you know, he's like, I have all this experience and all this knowledge. He's like, but it hurts me creatively because I know what doesn't work. So he's working with the younger. You have to talk glowingly about Renee Young, and he was like, you know, I learned so much from Renee Young. She's learning from me, but I'm learning so much more from her. He's like, as I am teaching them, I am learning so much more in return. And he just comes off, ironically, like this amazing mad scientist, just genius. I do wish they would have talked about his time being the announcer of Rollerball, the movie Rollerball. He probably want to bring that up. But really phenomenal documentary. If you have the WWE Network, which if you don't, you can get a month for free. If you already have it, it's an undisclosed monthly sum. It's a great documentary to watch. At 2 hours in length. Very, very well done.